Hi, Maya. Thank you so much for accepting this interview. And we're here to talk about the awareness intensive who is in process that you have done probably more than once. So, uh, what happened the first time that you were invited to the process? Um, what happened in you? What was the thing that said, okay, yes, I will do it?
Mm. Well, first off, hi, Naran. What a gift and pleasure it is to be with you this morning. I mean, my heart is just feeling really glowy and sweet. So thank you for this opportunity. And what a great question to begin with, right? The way how I was introduced to the koan and the work is through a dear friend, like a sister, a mentor, Ramya. She was diving deeper into her own relationship with the koan, and she had invited me to explore it because I had a true desire to meet her mentor in the work. And the affordability wasn't there. The time wasn't there. The money wasn't there. And she said, okay, I'm going along on this journey and I'd like to introduce you to it. So it was like the summertime. And I sat with a version of the koan, right? Not the purity of it, because I was just being introduced to the work of self-inquiry. And I found myself in that moment realizing that I can go deeper into my own healing work, much deeper than many years of therapy. um, and I found myself meeting different versions of myself. And I fell in love. I don't know. Am I answering your question? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. I really fell in love. Mhm.
Yeah, so and what happened after that meeting that you said, okay, there is a full retreat or there is a 3 day process, three and a half
Mhm.
day process.
Mhm.
Yes, I want to go. What was in you that wanted to explore this? Because I hear curiosity and I hear excitement. But what was whatever it was that
Mhm.
said, I want to meet myself. I want to go deep with
Mhm.
this and meet myself deeply.
Mhm. So over time, it took a couple of years before the 3 days could actually make it as a format, right? From that first time meeting a version of self-inquiry to the retreat actually happening um, in the 3 day format. And I would always have this anchor inside of me asking the koan, and I would meet a version of myself that felt very much imprisoned within. It was like I was in a dark hole, this version of myself. And as I was very much skimming the surface of understanding the work, I would see or glimpse little versions of myself that were afraid to come out. And so the opportunity to sit completely away from my everyday routine was scary. But because I'm so curious, I wanted to sit with this fear. I wanted to understand the mechanisms behind it. And I had this prayer and this intention to meet these versions of myself that were stuck in this tunneled prison deep in the earth.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how, what happened during the 3 days? Were you able to unearth them, to bring them out, to meet them? What happened the first time that you did the process?
Yeah, because I've done it a few times
Mm-hmm.
and even more times than that, right? But that first time was I laugh because in those first moments I thought I was really like I was getting in there, you know. And in hindsight, in the moment today, when I look back and I see also my reactionary process, I was really just barely scratching the surface. I was met with all of my familiar tendencies, rage, resistance, fear, this desire to run out of the space, the physical space, you know, like escape. That's a familiar movement for me. There was also like the lies I told myself during that time to make myself believe that I was going deep, you know, the stories, the masks, all of these cover up mechanisms. I lean back now, you know, and the idea that I can relax into the honest truth of that time and how cozy that is to be able to just witness that and be detached from that. Whereas in those moments, those first years, I wasn't so relaxed about it. I was really uptight.
So I hear that there is this this meeting with truth and uncovering things.
Mhm.
How was that for you? Um, was it difficult? Was it pleasant? Was it yeah? How was that for you? What was your experience by doing this unearthing, if you want, as you mentioned
Mhm.
before?
Mm. Gosh, it was everything, man. It was a whole mixed bag. There was a lot of like anger at myself. Yeah. And that lasted a couple years. There was disappointment. Yeah. And then there was this realization that that anger and disappointment was never really mine. You know, it's like the programs that were given to me through my upbringing and through encounters with different authority figures in society through work or schooling or all the ways that can show up. And when I would look past those, I could also see this youthful joy because I was getting to know myself in ways that would still create the sense of internal chaos and turmoil. But it was like, wow, there's a relief coming. There is something else that I'm able to see in myself and sometimes choose to accept it, and other times be in complete resistance to it. And because I carry so much curiosity about the human experience, I would get this fuel that would come and be like, okay, what else is there? What more is happening? And of course, with that desire to know what more is coming, I would be faced with more of my stuff. Because I'm like unearthing it, right? I'm in a movement process through curiosity. Um, so yeah, there would also be some moments of like, oh gosh, okay, I'm deep in. Wow. Wow, I'm really deep here. That's wild. It's wildly scary and it's wildly encouraging and it's wildly full of chaos and joy.
Mhm. I'm hearing that that happened after the process, that the process carried on um, after. And so and I see that the insights that you might or might not have had during the process um, evolved.
Mhm. Yeah.
How was that evolution for you?
It's you asked me the question, and my my inner voice says it's still happening right now as we're speaking. The process, and it's like this because I love the process so much. And even as I consider what I'm going to say, I'm being carried with the process. So much so that your question has dissolved. And I'm here speaking with you, and yet I'm having the internal experience right now. I could easily start to describe what my internal experience is in this moment, almost as though I'm being invited to show the listener and viewer my internal experience. Like I'm going through this hallway and I'm opening these doors, and the light of the hallway is kind of like a warm sunset, but yet there's this clarity and sharpness of a pale, pale blue mixed with white. And each door that I'm opening is, if I take the time, I could be invited into a deep story, which is not really a story, but an opportunity to see something different. And yet I'm reminded also in this very moment that I'm here answering a question. And what was that question again? Because the only question that's ringing true right now is who is in? So it's quite fantastic. What's happening here? And I have to ask again, have I answered your question?
Yeah, I
You
mean, I
know?
ask how was the evolution of the
Yeah.
process and the
Uh-huh.
koan landing, and I see that you mentioned that it's happening right now. So it's very
Yeah.
much alive. It's and I probably described it before, but it's like a gift that we received during the process, and
Yeah.
um, that carries on, and that can be used at an well, it's happening in each moment.
Yeah.
So.
Hmm.
So thank you for sharing that moment of presence, truth, and yeah, describing your experience and
Mm.
and as the koan is happening in you.
Yeah, thank you for allowing that opportunity, right? Because it is somehow also about the koan carrying its own blueprint, and those who are really training themselves in the work, they carry their flavor of how the blueprint will be unfolding. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Mhm. So, what happened when after receiving this koan, or receiving the instruction, or receiving the gift, or whatever is the word that we might use for that, um, so what happened after? What happened in you? Did you notice any changes in um, any shifts, any perspective, any aha moments in your day-to-day life? Because I know that a lot can happen during the retreat, but um, and I see that it's still unfolding. Can you talk us about if there was some shifts, some aha, some realizations?
Mm. I think the first thing I recognized was how very small I am in the grand scheme of life unfolding. So it became very tangible when I would walk down the street, I would be having this experience, and I continue to have this experience of not just myself, but the other. So the concept of witnessing is still being very much anchored within myself. So my understanding of being a witness or becoming a witness through my everyday movements and actions and storylines is that I'm aware, very much so, of my personal experience, and I'm very aware of the external experience, the experience of the other. It's almost as though um, I have boundaries and others have boundaries around them. And yet, within those boundaries, there's a commonality of the human experience. Not a knowing, but an understanding that we are all individuals having a very human experience. And within that individual experience is the community experience. And it
Mm.
continues to unfold. It continues to unfold. The witness.
It's so nice to be able to be aware, and not nice is not the word, but it is, again, a gift to be able to observe what's happening in its all, uh, in all its dimensions. I could even say. uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, what happened in if you can pinpoint something that struck you, or that that really changed your life, or if there was none, that's okay, but was there some turning point where you said, oh yeah, this I saw in the retreat, and now I see it translated very tangible in my life?
I love how even before you like verbalize the question, I change my posture. I come in really close. I feel like something juicy is going to come, without even knowing the question that's coming. And I think this question for me is really oof, juicy. There's a lot there. So I'm taking in your question. I'm taking in a moment to really bask in it. Can you ask it again, please?
Yeah, was there a moment in your experience, in after the retreat, that you noticed a big shift, either a very tangible shift or a very tangible example of something that you might have noticed in the retreat, that was very clear, that after the process was like, oh yeah, I didn't see that, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's very present
Mm-hmm.
and here.
Hmm. So I realized that I've been the one imprisoning myself. That's pretty deep. And like you asked me the question first, and I take it in, and I'm brought to a very specific vision, and then I lose the question, and then you have to ask it again, and I have to hold on to the answer, right? Because there's this avoidance in the honesty there, that I'm the one who keeps myself imprisoned. So I realized that I wasn't showing all of me. Like I was afraid of being accepted in my silly, goofy, childlike state. I would say that's a big piece that was being imprisoned. And that's for many reasons, stemming from childhood experiences. And I realized that most of the people around me want to see that because they maybe could sense that that was a part of me that I was holding back. So I would always be in a state of presence with withholding or being very cold. And now I'm just very goofy and silly. And even in the midst of chaos, I can find the joy there. And that could throw some people off, but I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with people being thrown off and maybe even reactionary. I'm okay with just showing up exactly as I am. So, this was like a big thing that came out from the first retreat, and that continues to unfold after every retreat. It's a full embodiment of how my spirit wants to show up in this life,
Mm. Yeah,
you
there's
know?
this also gift of authenticity,
Mhm.
and courage and acceptance.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, we like
Full,
that.
yeah, full permission also to embody all that we are. So yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful expression. So, so why doing it again? Why doing the retreat once more, or many times again?
Yeah. Um, it's so interesting that you like the timing of this question is very interesting. So I'm led to give an example of a personal experience from my weekend. So I have a younger sibling, my sister, who I adore. She's always been more of the older sibling, as younger siblings tend to be. And she's very rational thinking, and I'm more of the black sheep. I go on these retreats and whatnot. And she said to me this weekend, why not try not going to another one of these retreats and saving your money? She works in finance, and so I feel like she has a good head on her shoulders and she knows what she's saying. And I really sat with that question. And every time I sat with it, I was faced with a lot of different emotions, resistance and questioning, and I fell asleep with that question on my heart. And after many hours of sleep, the sleep time opened up a lot for me. And here I am this morning with this question, like, why do you keep coming back? And the first answer I want to give is that I can't see my life without not doing it, like it's become an essential part of my living experience. For me, it's a vacation. It's one of the only times in the year where I get to stop completely and go within and sit with all that's been integrated and let that integration go deeper. And it's like I go into hibernation for a couple days, and then I start to come out of the soil as the retreat ends. I come out of the soil and I see my strength, and then I blossom into like this flower. And for me, I'm like, wow, okay, I have to come back again. This movement of what unfolds afterwards, and it's still unfolding. And it continues to unfold, and it does something to my personal spiritual walk that brings me closer to my spiritual practice and in my communion with God. That I'm like, how is it that like people in my spiritual circle don't know this work? I'm not going to disclose my uh, title of my spiritual practice because I feel like it can be put into a category of religion, and I don't want to give it that, but the work of self-inquiry and this work in specific has deepened a spiritual communication for me that is like no other. So it this work accompanies me on my deepest spiritual practice with so much love. Like I could cry, like this bubbling up of emotions as I'm speaking is very tangible. And there's so much beauty there. And I'm led to like this, like, okay, like to each their own spiritual walk. But for me, this is like a beautiful, just
Mhm.
stunning as a feeling and as an experience. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna turn this down. Sorry about that. I'm at the office. So yeah. Mhm.
It is it is a good take. It is a good uh, observation of who we are and what what's happening in us every time um, that we enter a retreat. So um, yeah, coming back, it's starting all over again. Having a little reset probably of what I'm hearing and
Mhm.
also getting closer to who we really are. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Beautifully summarized. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Maya, for this conversation and this interview of your journey. And would it be would you say something to somebody that would be interested, or that yeah, some last words if you want to call it like that?
Mm. Thank you so much for the space to do that. It's very powerful to be offered this opportunity. So I'll just take a minute to center myself. There is such a gift and a privilege to be courageous enough to decide to encounter who we truly are. And if through this conversation you find yourself with a sparkling or a sprinkle or a twinkle of curiosity, I invite you to come deeper. This invitation is not just for your mind or your body, but it's for your spirit. And allow your spirit to be carried through the curiosity, to take a seat. This invitation to encounter truth, maybe even your own truth. Come. It's so darn good. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maya.
Thank you
Mm,
so much. You're such a
mm,
gift. I
mm.
appreciate you.
I
And
appreciate you. Mhm.
thank you for walking with me.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah.